Let me ask you something. Have you ever reached a point where everything inside you says stop, yet something quiet, almost invisible, asks you to take just one more step? This is where the art of continuing begins. Not in strength, not in perfect motivation, but in that fragile moment between giving up and moving forward. In this episode, you are not only going to improve your English, you are going to understand something deeper about yourself. You will learn how perseverance is not just effort. It is a choice, a mindset, a quiet form of power. Because life will always give you challenges, moments that feel heavy, confusing, or even unfair. But what if those moments are not there to break you, but to shape you? Stay with me until the end, and you may begin to see your struggles in a completely different way. And if this lesson gave you something useful, I'd love it if you tapped like and subscribe to the channel. It helps you stay connected, and it also helps this little learning community grow. Every click really does make a difference. With love, let's dive in. Why do we feel like quitting so often? You feel like quitting because your mind is trying to protect you, not because you are weak. When something becomes difficult, uncomfortable, or uncertain, your brain sends a simple message: this is too much. It wants safety, ease, and control. But growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in resistance. That feeling of wanting to stop is not a failure. It is a signal that you are at the edge of change. And here is the important part. Most people misunderstand this feeling. They think it means they are not capable or not ready. But in reality, it often means the opposite. It means you are exactly where progress begins. The challenge is learning how to stay present in that moment, to pause, to breathe, and to continue anyway. Not with pressure, but with awareness. Because the desire to quit is natural, but choosing to continue is powerful. What does it really mean to continue? Continuing does not mean forcing yourself endlessly. It means choosing to move forward with awareness. It is not about ignoring your limits. It is about understanding them and still deciding to take a step. Sometimes that step is small, almost invisible. Sometimes it is simply not giving up today, and that is enough. The art of continuing is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet, steady, and consistent. It is the ability to stay connected to your direction, even when your energy is low. Many people believe that progress must always feel strong and confident, but that is not true. Real progress often feels slow, uncertain, and even uncomfortable, but it is still progress. Continuing means accepting that you will not always feel ready, and doing it anyway, not perfectly, but honestly. And over time, these small, honest steps begin to build something stronger than motivation. They build identity. Are challenges really obstacles or something else? What if challenges are not there to stop you, but to shape you? Think about it. Every difficult moment you face has a hidden purpose. It asks you to grow, to adjust, to become stronger in ways you cannot see immediately. These challenges are like symbolic mountains. They are not just barriers. They are training grounds. When you climb them, slowly and imperfectly, you develop something deeper than success. You develop resilience. And resilience is not something you are born with. It is something you build step by step. Without difficulty, there is no transformation. Without pressure, there is no strength. So instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What is this teaching me?" This simple shift changes everything, because when you see challenges as part of your growth, you stop fearing them and you start using them. What is real resilience made of? Real resilience is not about being strong all the time. It is about continuing even when you feel weak. It is about being honest with your emotions and still choosing to move forward. Many people think resilience means never feeling tired, never doubting, never struggling, but that is not real. That is an illusion. True resilience includes vulnerability. It includes moments where you feel unsure, overwhelmed, or even lost. And still, you continue, not because it is easy, but because you decide that stopping is not your final answer. Resilience is built in those quiet moments, when no one is watching, when there is no applause, when it feels easier to quit. That is where your strength grows, not from perfection, but from persistence. And over time, you begin to trust yourself more, not because life becomes easier, but because you know you can face it. How can you continue when you feel exhausted? You continue by changing the way you define progress, not by pushing harder. When you feel exhausted, your energy is limited, and forcing yourself can create more pressure than progress. This is where the art of continuing becomes intelligent, not just persistent. Instead of asking yourself to do everything, ask yourself to do something small, something possible. Even a small step keeps your direction alive. Continuing does not always mean moving fast. Sometimes it means moving gently. It means respecting your limits without letting them control your future. Rest can be part of progress. Slowing down can be part of growth. The key is not to stop completely, but to adjust your pace. When you do this, you remove the feeling of failure and replace it with patience. And patience allows you to stay consistent, even when your energy is low. What is the difference between persistence and stubbornness? Persistence is flexible. Stubbornness is rigid. This is a very important difference. When you are persistent, you stay connected to your goal, but you are open to change. You listen, you learn, you adapt. But when you are stubborn, you hold on without reflection. You continue in the same way, even when it is not working. The art of continuing requires awareness, not blind repetition. It asks you to move forward, but also to think, to adjust, and to grow. Sometimes the best way to continue is not to do more, but to do things differently. This does not mean you are giving up. It means you are evolving. True strength is not about holding on in the same way forever. It is about knowing when to shift, when to rest, and when to try a new approach. That is how real progress happens. Why is rest part of the journey, not a break from it? Rest is not the opposite of progress. It is a necessary part of it. When you rest, you are not stopping your journey, you are supporting it. Your mind and body need space to recover, to process, and to rebuild energy. Without rest, continuing becomes harder, heavier, and less effective. Many people feel guilty when they rest. They think they are falling behind. But in reality, rest helps you move forward more clearly and with more strength. The key is intentional rest, not avoidance. Rest with awareness, with purpose. Give yourself permission to pause, but not to disconnect completely. When you return, you often come back with better focus and more clarity, and that makes your next step stronger. So rest is not weakness, it is preparation. How do small steps create big change? Big change is not created in one moment. It is built through many small decisions. Each time you choose to continue, even in a small way, you are building momentum. These small steps may not feel powerful in the moment, but over time, They create a strong foundation. The problem is that many people wait for big motivation or perfect conditions. But those moments are rare. Real progress comes from consistency, from showing up again and again, even when it feels simple or slow. Think of it like building something. Each small piece matters. Without those small pieces, the final result cannot exist. So do not underestimate your small efforts. They are not insignificant. They are essential. And when you trust this process, continuing becomes easier because you are not waiting for perfection. You are creating progress. What role does choice play in continuing? Continuing is always a choice, even when it feels automatic. You may not always control your situation, but you can choose your response. This is where your power exists. Every time you face difficulty, you are given a moment of decision. You can stop, or you can continue, and each choice shapes your path. The important thing to understand is that choice does not require perfect conditions. You do not need to feel ready, confident, or strong to choose to continue. You only need awareness. When you recognize that you have a choice, you begin to take control of your direction. And over time, these choices build your identity. You become someone who continues, not because life is easy, but because you decide it is worth it. Can struggle become something meaningful? Struggle becomes meaningful when you decide to give it purpose, not when it disappears. Pain, difficulty, and confusion are part of every human experience, but they do not automatically create growth. What transforms them is your response. When you face challenges with awareness, when you choose to learn instead of escape, your struggle begins to change its role. It is no longer just something you go through. It becomes something that shapes you. Meaning is not found in the difficulty itself, but in what you do with it. And this is where the art of continuing becomes powerful. You are not just surviving your challenges. You are using them. You are turning pressure into strength and confusion into clarity. Over time, this creates a deeper sense of purpose, not because life becomes easier, but because you understand it differently. How does continuing shape who you become? Every time you choose to continue, you are not just moving forward, you are becoming someone new. Identity is not something fixed or permanent. It is something you build through your actions. When you continue through difficulty, you begin to see yourself differently. You start to trust your ability to handle challenges, to adapt, and to grow. This creates confidence, but not the loud external kind. It is a quiet confidence, a steady belief that you can face what comes next. And this belief is built through experience, not words. The more you continue, the stronger this identity becomes. You are no longer someone who avoids difficulty. You are someone who works through it. And that changes everything, because when your identity shifts, your choices become easier. Continuing is no longer something you force. It becomes something you naturally do. Why does continuing inspire other people? When you continue, you are not only changing your own life, you are influencing others, often without realizing it. People notice consistency, effort, and quiet strength. They see how you handle difficulty, how you stay present, and how you keep going even when it is not easy. This creates inspiration, not through words, but through action. You become an example of what is possible. And the interesting part is, you do not need to be perfect to inspire others. In fact, your struggles make your journey more real and more relatable. When people see that you feel tired, unsure, or challenged, and still continue. They begin to believe that they can do the same. Your perseverance becomes a message, even if you never say anything. It shows that continuing is not about being special. It is about being committed. What happens when you decide not to quit? When you decide not to quit, something shifts inside you. The situation may not change immediately. The challenge may still be there, but your relationship with it becomes different. You stop seeing it as something that controls you, and you begin to see it as something you can face. This shift creates strength, even before results appear. And over time, results do come. Not always quickly, not always in the way you expect, but they come because consistency creates outcomes. When you continue, you build experience, understanding, and skill. You learn what works, what does not, and how to improve. And this process leads to growth that is real and lasting. Quitting may bring temporary relief, but continuing creates long-term transformation. It builds something inside you that cannot be taken away. What is the true art of continuing? The true art of continuing is not about force. It is about conscious choice. It is about understanding that you will feel tired, uncertain, and sometimes overwhelmed, and still deciding to move forward. It is about knowing when to rest, when to adjust, and when to take another step. Continuing is not a single action. It is a practice, a quiet, consistent way of living. It is built through awareness, patience, and trust. And over time, it becomes part of who you are. You begin to see challenges differently, not as endings, but as invitations to grow. And this changes your entire perspective. Life is no longer something that happens to you. It is something you actively shape, step by step, choice by choice. That is the art of continuing. Not perfect, not easy, but deeply powerful. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss the next lesson. Your support means so much. It keeps this space alive and growing. With love. Thank you for being here, and I can't wait to continue this journey with you.